I inadvertently invested in, well, I didn't really invest. Actually, to be honest, I paid for and bought Abraham Lincoln's Amish mine. He sold me the mine basically, and pretty much I paid gold for it. And I think what he did is was trying to buy guns from Birmingham or one of my gun factories or one of my forts. He went to one of my forts because my forts used to sell guns. And he couldn't get the good guns, so they ended up, I believe, buying muskets because that's all he could afford or whatever. He had a little bit of gold, but not that much. And he actually tried. I think what they did was they took some brick, and they smeared gold dust all over it. Then they baked in the gold. An old trick they used to do is take filings of gold and then smear it all over a brick and then bake it, and it would melt and it would look like a gold bar. But you break it open and it's basically empty inside. It's basically dirt inside. So, but it doesn't weigh the same. And basically, him and his sons were caught trying to purchase some guns with some fake gold bars, because it used to be the weight of the gun is how much metal you need to give or whatever, or gold. And because I was always mining more metal, so I could exchange gold for whatever, I could give them a finished weapon and take the metal or gold in. Anyway, that's how I did things. Anyway, though, Abraham Lincoln was running around saying that within 50 feet he was trying to claim ambassador rights or whatever, diplomat rights, which basically he said, well, I have a list of things right here that says within 50 feet of me is my country and my country rules, which basically meant that he gets free drinks. He gets free metal, he gets free pussy, and basically he got free everything, and he had the right to on a woman if he wanted to, and do the vertical lombo with a woman. Anyway, like I said, he was the president or president of Amish country, basically. That was Abraham Lincoln, I believe. He had his own town, basically, supposedly. And realistically, what it was actually one of my mines that he had either taken over or he'd used the guns to enslave the people working there, pretty much. But basically, it was my property, pretty much, that he had taken over and claimed it as his country. And in fact, he was just a con artist, just like everyone else. And he had gone to France and gotten his picture taken and received some gold coins or some coins, basically. And he had not much more than a couple pendants to his name, basically. And he spent most of it on women or whatever. He had gotten a fake dollar, $2 bill, or he had saved up all his money, or his family had $2 to their name, basically. And he was going around to women saying, I'll give you $1 for one night. Or for one time, and then basically he would pretty much kidnap them and take them back to Amish country and chain them to the floor. Anyway, he tried this to he tried to lure some Chinese to his mine or something like that, to enslave them, or he tried to do something with somebody or whatever, or tried to buy. He couldn't afford slaves. He couldn't afford anything really. He had spent all his money on wine, women, and song, and fine clothes. I let him keep one of the suits, or two of the suits, because when you took a picture with the suit, I think, well, no, I think he stole the suit, or he bought this. I forget exactly what happened to him. There's a long, if you, like I say, look in Interpol, look up Amish and Abraham Lincoln, and then check with China, and you should find a record on Abraham Lincoln. Anyway, Nixon and JFK and Jimmy Carter, they wanted to basically make all these people look good, like good people, but they were not. And Abraham Lincoln was running around saying that within 50 feet of him is basically his country boundaries are within 50 feet. And a lot of the people did this. And in his country, he said that he had a list of rules which said that women must submit, a bartender must give him free alcohol, or samples of alcohol or something like that. There's this big long list, and I was like, wait a minute, I did not say that was okay in any of my countries, because I was getting lots of complaints about these people, and basically, and besides, we found people chained to the floor of one of his, and he had a slave mine going with people chained to what's called. I was like, slave mine that means I was like, no, you cannot chain people to the floor and force them to work. Like, two guys would carry this block, and they would have this Chinese guy, and they would have this big block, and they would chain him and put him against the wall. And if he didn't whack every couple minutes, one of his sons would take a whip and go whoosh, and whip the poor black person, the poor Chinese person in the back. And they were starving too, because they didn't, they didn't really have land, or their land wasn't good enough, or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. It was one of the places where either my Chinese or I was paying money for some Australian, British, Irish people. Like I say, Australia and Irish. Yes, I love you guys. You Brits and you Australian people, good honorable men. Like I say, they went in there because I was paying gold and I had money, and I was like, I want to find these people. And so they, I think it was actually like he was trying to buy slaves from China, or some people from China, maybe some women or something, for his sons or something. The French had some run-ins with his people as well within the United States or within America, because I bought America and took it over. I was like, my tanks just rolled across the country. Or my trains. I was like, I'm putting in a train. It's my land. Like I say, within 600 miles or something of my train tracks is my property. So technically, there's a train track right there within Santa Barbara, which means my literal property goes all the way up into the mountains, 600 miles or 300 miles or something like that, or 3,000 or 3,000 miles or 3,000 feet or something, like on either side of my train tracks is basically my property. It's my train track, it's my freight, and everything within is my property. Mostly because people would shoot my trains and shoot at my passengers, and I'm like, okay, fences. 3,000. Oh, how? I was like, well, people can shoot about 3,000 feet, right? So, all right, so 3,000 feet that way, 3,000 feet that way. It's my property. Do not come near. Do not fire at my trains, because I was losing engineers, and I pay those people. When an engineer gets shot, I put out the money. That's my money. So I was like, nah, this is ending now, because these people they work for me. So basically I did all this stuff, and I was putting the train track across, and everyone loved me. Everyone was like, trains, yes, we love you. Wood, coal, in the wintertime, my trains would I didn't have to send my trains up into those frozen places, but my trains would go, and they would get up into the mountains, and they would go and rescue people, or my trains would run 24/7, all day, all night. Well, not really. I think we did cut it off, because we waited for a full train load to actually move people and stuff sometimes, so the train would sit there, because the train is very expensive to run. So I would wait a little while, for the lumber to get stacked up, and then, because it's my coal, my wood, my this, my that. And people love my trains. They loved them. I love them too. And my mind, so, and anyway, so, yep. Anyway, yes, so Abraham Lincoln was a problem, and eventually I paid for his hat and head, I believe.